Hi everyone, welcome to One Day Positivity. And in today's episode, we're joined by a remarkable individual who has lived across 3 continents and built a multifaceted career as an artist, HSP coach, and an entrepreneur. Her name is Rim, and this is her second time on this channel. And with expertise in NLP and a deep understanding of highly sensitive people, she offers invaluable insights into navigating challenges, balancing creativity, and fostering a fulfilling professional life. So stay tuned, and if you want to connect with her, I have all the links to her YouTube channel, her Instagram account, and her website are in the description box, so you can go there and connect with her. And without further ado, let's get started with today's episode.
Let's first start with your diverse background, because you have lived across 3 continents, right? You are HSP coach, entrepreneur. You are also an artist, NLP coach, right? And you've also worked as a fashion designer, right?
Yes, in the past, yes, I used to. I don't anymore.
Yeah. So how has this diverse background influenced your approach to work and life?
Okay, it's an interesting question. I think already, even before that, I felt I have maybe a unconventional approach to work, if only because I have a multicultural background. I'm binational. I have 2 nationalities. Okay, let's say this. So I have 2 nationalities, and I grew up in 2 countries, like alternating between 2 countries. My parents had coming from 2 different cultures, 2 different religion, and it's even 2 continents. So it's really, really different. To an international high school. So I was already mixed with people from all over the world with lots of different jobs. It was like all kind of the whole range of from ambassador to worker, like the range was really diverse. So for me, it was already very like eye-opening. I already felt like I know that there are so many paths in life, so many things. So this is one thing. And then another thing is, since I was attracted to art from a very young age, I knew that there was much more to life and to our daily occupation than just like, crunching numbers or learning about how to write properly, even though that's like all of these are very good, very important skills. Like, I mean, what the traditional things that we learn at school, I was a little bit bored, to be honest, with school. So
I guess how it influenced, your approach to work and life.
yes,
it's like you transitioned also between, different careers. Yeah.
Yes, I think for me, work has always, even though I went some period in my, especially in my 20s or in early 30s, where I did try to fit in. And I thought, okay, I need to have a proper career. I didn't think about that before, but when I was in my young adult working life, I met other people who from different careers, and I felt like they rush, like a lot of 25, 30 years old people. They kind of want to, get a good job, get a good career. And even though I didn't really care so much about this, I felt the pressure. But for me, what was always more important than that was feeling good in my work life, like feeling that my work has meaning, and feeling that I'm always learning something new. Like I feel like my brain needs to be stimulated. My brain and my creativity. I felt like I need this inspiration. It has to. I need to have meaning. Otherwise, I really get bored. And I really feel like when I'm doing some work that doesn't make a difference, it's not like making a difference like, oh, I feel better than everyone, so I need to make a difference. It doesn't come from that. It comes more from, well, I'm part of the world, I'm part of this huge ecosystem, and I like to contribute to the beauty of it, like do something that is helpful, meaningful. So that was very important. So I think, yeah, so that's another point. And then the fact that I was a fashion designer, how did it impact me? I think it's still this notion of creating something, giving life to something. So for me, I feel like working is supposed, you know, I like to compare it to a garden or something like that. For me, since we have to work a big part of our life, it has to be something interesting. And for me, it's all about like planting seeds and make them grow, letting them grow as well. Like it's a balance. It's a conversation between me putting my efforts or instilling my creativities, my ideas, tending to the garden, and the garden, the seeds on themselves, like they also have a life of their own. So I feel like the work I do also has its own life, and it's a kind of conversation between me and my work, something like that. I've come to see this a bit later in life. For a while, I thought I have to control and work super hard and have a tight grip on things. In the fashion world, it's a little bit like this. It's a lot of work fast, work fast. Like I want it yesterday.
Yeah.
This kind of mindset, and I've switched from that, and now I'm learning to be more to have a slower, more trusty approach to work, to career, so that it's
Right.
more sustainable. Yeah.
Right. And like you said that, it was more of like, fast paced, that we need the result today. Uh, just like that, there are many other challenges that highly sensitive people face. So what were your challenges that you faced in those work environments, and how did you navigate them?
Yes, as a highly sensitive person, okay, first I can talk about the energy, and I feel the energy of the room, and I didn't always know why or how. Like I was not aware, especially at the beginning. So if the energy is full of anxiety, if there are a lot of people who are anxious, it made me anxious.
Right.
Um, so working in a fast-paced environment, there's a lot of stress and anxiety going on. So I was feeling a lot of stress and anxiety. I would feel emotions as well. And so I don't think all highly sensitive people feel people's emotions, others' emotions in the same level. I think this is more of an empath thing. More highly sensitive people and empath people who feel others' emotions.
Right.
So I'm just making the difference between HSPs and being an empath, which is a little variation on the thing. So because I'm also an empath. So as an empath, I would also feel people's emotions. So that would impact me, and I would feel very stressed and worried. There was a little bit of people pleasing in me, but at the same time a lot of rebellion, that maybe I didn't really know how to balance the two. Like I would be worried that I don't do the work well, so I always trying to do my best, or always feeling stressed that I didn't do it well, or that I wouldn't be fast enough. But at the same time I would be very sensitive or reactive to injustice, unfairness, um, people's, like, for example, when a boss, a manager speaks with disregard to me or to my colleagues, to others, I really could not stand it. So it was, like issues with hierarchy, this kind of things. Like I personally, I hate hierarchy and this kind of things. It's really,
Yeah, I
I'm
can
usually for
relate.
the underdog, so I'm like, respect. I'm all for respect, and everyone is equal in a way. We're all different, but we're all equal. So this was an issue, a challenge. And the workload, like working for hours, like until night, and sometimes often during the weekend, and this pressure of you have to go fast, fast, fast. Obviously, you cannot really go deep when you have to go fast. You kind of skim to the surface, and it's the end,
Right.
the opposite of me. I love to go deep. I love to go to kind of drown into the details. So also this could be not always a good thing for me, because I could get lost in in my I could get lost and swim in the sea of possibilities.
Yeah.
But at the same time, going too surface level is too frustrating. It's like against my nature, and it's also not like my brain works. I do need some time to go deep, and I do need some time to daydream. I
Yeah.
need some time to just dream and not think about the deadline, so that I can, that's what I've learned after. Later on, I realized, no, I do need that. And when I give myself time to daydream and be slow, when I allow myself to be slow on some things
Yeah.
and go deep and so on some things, then I can be much faster and more efficient on other things, like the rest of the week, for example. And
Right.
I found this is difficult when you work for a company, when you work for somebody else according to their own terms, according to their own deadlines, and so on.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and then finally, I can speak about another challenge, which is the physical challenge. Being in, I didn't always have, like, it depends of the works of the offices I had, but like I remember one, this was when I was much younger, when I worked in London for London Fashion Week designers. At that time, it was still allowed to smoke. I mean, they started to have some laws and rules about limiting smoking in public spaces, but it was not so developed as now. So I remember in one brand I worked for, a big designer, they were smoking in the room. So that was really difficult for me to stand at these
Yeah.
kind of things. And then later on, like my last corporate job was in a big open space with artificial lighting, and it was warm, it was in a subtropical area, and they put the aircon all year, all the time. That was also difficult for me. I could not see the sky, I couldn't see outside, no window. I was in the middle, so I was far from windows, with the artificial lighting, not comfortable seating, uncomfortable seating, where everyone together. It was very difficult to focus, and also to recharge and to access. I felt like I'm often confused, and I had difficulties focusing.
Mhm.
I think
Right.
I could not access, like I can't access my brain, and people speaking on the phone. I could
Mhm.
not focus. I was like, my nervous system was all over the place.
Yeah. It's like, feeling claustrophobic. Like, you're suffocating in that environment.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. I can, relate to many of these. So how did you navigate these challenges? Did you decide to leave the job or, you know, speak with them or
Well, that job I left, it was crazy. Yeah, I think it's one of the most toxic jobs I had, and I realized, wow, I'm finishing my corporate career on a toxic high note.
yeah. But
And
I think
after that,
it is
yes.
important, right? Like to at some point you have to decide like what is priority, your mental health, physical health, or
Oh,
climbing the career ladder.
yeah, I've never wanted to climb the career. I'm ambitious, but I'm not ambitious in that way.
Okay.
Very early on, I realized that I'm not willing to pay the price that is required of
Right.
me. And that's why very young, I started my own business. I started my own business when I was 26 or 27. I stopped, like when I was in London, actually. I did work a little bit for other people as a freelancer, because that was the nature of jobs in fashion back then. So as soon as I had the opportunity in my free time, I was doing my own things, and I started like that. And I enjoyed it. So for the first 1 or 2 years, I kept a part-time job, just the time my business grows. But then after, I even don't remember, 1 or 2 years, I stopped all part-times. For 5 years, I was my own boss. I was doing my job. The reason why I stopped that is because I thought, it was not because I wanted to climb the career, but I thought it's quite difficult to be alone, to do everything on my own. And I had a workshop back then, an atelier. I was making products, so I had a lot of inventory and especially supplies. And I felt I'm being stuck to my, like I'm not stuck to an office, but I'm stuck to my fashion textile studio. I can't go traveling because I have to do this. I was selling, creating, designing, and making the things.
Right.
It was too much, so I felt this is a too much restriction. And also back then I thought, actually, I do think that I need a mentor, or maybe I need more experience. I'm not experienced enough, and maybe I'm missing out on something in the fashion world. Maybe I need that experience, to work for a bigger fashion company, so I can learn more, and maybe later on I will come back to my own thing. And I think I was also a little bit workaholic. So I was a bit frustrated. I felt like my work-life balance is not very healthy. But then once I left I stopped my company and I went working for other people, I realized that actually nobody's mentoring me. They don't care at all. I'm not saying it's always like this. It's my experience in the fashion world and in my experience. I know many of my friends who worked in fashion have this similar experience. So I think it's quite widespread, but maybe there are better companies, but I haven't found them. So anyway, from my experience, there was no mentoring whatsoever, no care for the well-being of the employees, for the well-being, no care for their personal development, but their skill development. It was already they expected from me to know everything, to work super fast, and work on the lowest salary possible. It was always, or if I had, like, when later on I had a higher salary, quite a high salary, and then there was a lot of pressure. Well, I pay you a lot, so now you have to shut up and suck it up and just be my bitch. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is really against my values.
And
So
that's
then
like that's what I don't like. Like, if somebody is paying you more, it doesn't give them the right to, disrespect you. You are still a human
exactly.
being. Yeah.
Exactly. So then I realized, okay, so I'm working for somebody. So, okay, I know every month I have a salary, so it's quite nice. And I can travel and I don't have the supplies and all the materials at home. So that's a good thing. But actually, I'm not sure I'm going to have my salary next month, because they're kind of always threatening us to fire us if we don't do there's a lot of pressure. It's the private sector, it's not public. And there is no much regulation. And so even though when I was in France, there are more regulation than when I was in China, but still, it's still quite easy anyway. So I felt there's a lot of pressure. There is no one taking care of us or trying to mentor us. So I'm not learning anything, actually, just by myself. I just have to learn by myself. Colleagues don't help each other. There is not, like, managers are kind of narcissists or display narcissists personalities, and also they have this mindset of dividing, like dividing for conquering, so that they feel like they can reign as the supreme.
Right.
the supreme emperor or empress, and so what's the point? And I'm exhausted. I'm not creating so much. It's supposed to be a creative job, but actually we work so fast that we just skim to the surface. And it's more about making money fast, 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 than really trying to create something creative
Right.
and really go into the details. So I felt like it's not interesting, and I felt like I'm always burnt out, always overwhelmed, always stressed. I spend my weekend recovering from the work week. I earned good money, but at that time I was wasting it, dealing with my stress and emotions by shopping and trying to fill my empty life. my you know
Right.
by shopping. I did travel a lot, so that was great. This was not wasting money at all for me.
Mhm.
So I did that. But once I traveled a lot, after a while, it's also okay, there is more to life than just travel, travel, travel. And I felt that I don't see the point, and I also, at some point, especially with that last job, I realized when I go home, I'm so exhausted, like I'm so fried. The first thing I do is is have a drink. I'm just pouring myself a cocktail or a glass of wine just to unwind, because I can't, otherwise I could not unwind. Even though I would go back home by work, I was like, like this.
Okay.
Then I realized, okay, I started by one glass, then I'm having a second one, then maybe I'm having a third one. And I did this one day, and then I'm doing this 2 days, now 3, now it's every day of the week. That's not right. There's something wrong here, It's no. So I was
Right.
just like,
But did
I
you,
can't do it.
yeah, but did you face the same challenges as a freelancer also when you were working, like if when you're working as a NLP coach or HSP coach with clients, did you face any challenges?
I left my corporate job in 2022, I think. So it hasn't been long. Now we're only 2024. I did also experience burnout when I was working for myself as a coach, especially at the beginning when I signed up for a marketing program that was supposed to help me make my business work. And then I realized in hindsight, there were so many red flags because they promised us good results in 2 months or 3 months, like amazing results. And the way they were teaching the stuff and the content, it was all about fast, 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 fast,
Right.
heavy workload, not at all adapted for me. So I did have a burnout then. And
Mhm.
I realized I actually almost lost the will to live because it was so depressing. And that was a big sign. I was like, okay, I really have to do things my way and not listen to all of these advices, all of the experts
Right.
things, because it's really not healthy. And I can't, like as a highly sensitive person, I really need to stop. And I need to honor myself. Like I need to make it work for me because I'm still young enough that I still have many, many years of work ahead of me.
Right.
So I still have many years of work ahead of me, and I want to love work. I want to enjoy work. I don't want to hate it, because by then I started to really hate work, and I thought, okay, there's nothing for me. I can't do anything. When I work for people, it's toxic. It's really unfair. Like people are so mean, and when I'm on my own, it's so hard. And I don't know. Or I always do it wrong, or I always work too much. I always burn out. I have to. There must be another way, and that's when I decided to totally change things, like go
Right.
deeper within.
Okay. And I think like, knowing yourself, self-awareness is very important because something that works for everybody else may or may not, work for you. And
Yes,
so
totally.
I also want to mention uh, your Instagram account and your YouTube channel. And I think in like your videos also, in your podcast as well, you are always advocating for developing a creative and playful routine, right? For like, as like self-care practice for HSPs. Could you share some practical tips also or examples of how HSPs can incorporate those into their daily life?
Yes. But before I do, I would like to explain why I think it's important.
Yeah,
Because I shared like my challenges, but I didn't really share after what happened. So I think it's important to so that we can understand why all of this burnout and all of this frying, like nervous system frying and feeling like my soul is gonna die and like I can't get up. It's too depressing. Okay, this burnout, but it's also this lack of purpose and this lack of meaning and this from disconnection from nature, but also from the natural cycle, natural rhythm. We are human beings. We are animals. We are still animals, even though we are human beings. And we need to I think it's very important for us to be part of our ecosystem, especially highly sensitive people. We are more sensitive, and to be in touch with our playful side, because when we are playful and we take things a little bit lightly, we release the pressure, we release this heavy grip, and we can let our creativity flow, and then we can access much more energy and possibilities, and we can do much more actually by slowing down and being more playful. So some tips, so some practices that I think are very helpful is to I like to do this in the morning. You can do it anytime you feel stressed, but in the morning it's nice because it sets your day, is to sit for a few minutes and watch where you are. If you can see some nature if you cannot go outside, you can look through your window. But if you live in a big city with no nature, you can look at a picture. You can look at some art, or you can look at a photo or something representing nature. I think it's really helpful. And to really consciously tuning to your senses. When you look at this scenery, let's say, notice what you see, notice the colors, the textures, notice what you hear, notice what you feel within your body, these physiological reactions inside. And also maybe some smell will come to you, or some taste. We are sensory beings, highly sensitive people. It also comes from the senses. And that's a way we can connect to our intuition, because our intuition is needs language to speak to us so that we can make sense of it. That's what I mean. The way we make sense of of the world is through our senses. That's how it will send information to our brain, and then our brain will translate it into language. So when we do this mindful practice, we can tune in to our environment, to a healthy environment, and therefore we can access this kind of our inner wisdom. And then when we do this, for maybe at the beginning it's a little bit difficult, but after a while it gets easier. And the more you practice tuning into your senses, the more you can access your intuition and your inner wisdom. Then there will be messages coming to you. Then you can write them down. And I like to draw. I like to draw them. I like to incorporate writing to drawing, because drawing is a way to let go of the brain, especially if it's a doodle. Like if you do it in a non-perfectionist way, not trying to make a piece of art, but more as a creative warm-up, something simple, fun. That's why playful is important. It allows us to let go of this tension
right,
here, and not be in the should, but be in our truth, our own personal truth, which is really important if we want to be aligned. Like our brain needs to be aligned with our body and our soul, because it's all connected, right?
right, yeah. Okay, and what will be your advice to other highly sensitive people who are struggling to find their place in professional world, or maybe they want to, have more creative paths as career?
Yes, I think it's really important to take time off. So even if you have to go back to, so even if you have to keep going to work when I mean time off, it's like allowing a part of your brain and of your mental energy to switch off. So not get involved in all the drama if you can, and at home in your spare time to really take time to explore your inner world so that you get to know yourself and you get to know what's good for you, because as you said, what's good for you is not necessarily good for me and it's not good for somebody else. So I would say dive deep within and spend the time to be clear with your values. It all starts from values. We need to be in integrity. If you want to be happy and fulfilled, you need to be in integrity with your values, with what you believe in. You can also spend time question your beliefs. Are they really your beliefs? Are they serving you? Are they maybe your family or your peers' beliefs? And spend time, writing down what's true for you and what you would like to be true. If you're not sure this is possible, you can write, I'm willing to explore, I'm willing to believe, I want to believe, blah, blah, blah. And then little by little, you will find a common thread. You will find things that make sense. And I would also advise to try things, try something
Right.
different.
Yeah. Okay.
And take risks. Be willing to take risks. That's really important. Like, not to be scared. I mean, you cannot not be scared, but being scared, but still trying.
Right. I think,
And in
yeah.
order to do that, I think it's important to develop. That's why diving deep and everything is, and be kind to yourself. So the whole thing, it's like learning to have a good relationship with yourself, to nurture yourself so that you can do the things or explore in safety what you want to do and
Right.
what you want to change. Yeah.
Yeah. Self relationship, I think that's very important. I read also somewhere, like no matter, who you lose in life, as long as you don't lose yourself, you'll be
Yeah,
fine.
it's a beautiful quote, and it's true, because losing yourself is actually, I think it's the most scary place to be, because you can lose people, you can lose jobs, you can lose whatever, you can lose money, you can lose your home. It's not nice, it's not pleasant, but you can always build a new one.
Right.
You can always get more money, you can always get a job, you can always meet someone new, blah blah blah, like all of that. But if you lose yourself, it's like, where are you? It's
Right.
like you have your body here and you have you, and then you're kind of swimming or trying to search. It's really
It's scary.
yeah, because from there nothing really can work. Everything is
Right.
built. It's like, building a castle on sand. There is no foundation.
Yeah.
And from my experience, it's that building a healthy relationship with myself is what allowed me to build and to design a new relationship to work, like a healthier relationship to work.
Right.
Because when you want to make changes in your life, it can be scary. It's not easy. It's challenging to change, to do things differently. If you don't have a if you don't prioritize your relationship with yourself, you might give up very easily and remain and come back to the old patterns or the old scenarios, because you don't know how to deal with the change. When you build a relationship with yourself and you're empowered and you're strong, like you're in integrity and you're kind of grounded, you're anchored and grounded, you know who you are, you're safe. Then even if the changes are difficult, even if they are difficult, like uncertainties and difficult situations, you can deal with that. You can you can do it. You trust yourself.
Right. Yeah. That's beautifully said. Put all the links to your, channel and your Instagram account and your website also.
Yeah, there will be all kind of tools, like a lot of tools for developing a playful, healthy, strong relationship with yourself. So
Okay. They'll be
that will be
available on your
interesting.
website.
Yeah.